Hello everyone, this is our 12th lecture on hydraulic engineering and machines. In the last lecture, we discussed transition in a channel. We provided a hump in the channel of height delta Z and analyzed the flow by using specific energy curve, and we saw how depth of flow and specific energy changes with change in height of hump. In this lecture, we will analyze the flow in a channel with a change in width, which is another kind of transition in a channel. So firstly, we consider a subcritical flow in width constriction in a channel. Okay. Let's consider a rectangular frictionless horizontal channel of width B1, which is carrying a discharge Q. Width is B1 carrying discharge Q, and the depth of flow is Y1. The width of this channel is changed at section 2, and this change is done by a smooth transition. Okay, this change in width is not a sudden. We are providing a smooth transition in a channel. Okay. Here we have considered frictionless channel, and the width constriction is provided by a smooth transition. Hence, there is no loss of energy from this section to this section. Moreover, at section 1 and at section 2, this is our section 1, this is our section 2. At section 1 and section 2, the bed elevation are same. Okay, there is no loss of energy at section 1 and section 2, and bed elevation are same at both the section. Hence, the specific energy at section 1 and at section 2 will be same. So E1 is equal to E2. Remember, here we are considering subcritical flow. Okay. Later we will go for supercritical flow. So we are going to see that what will happen with depth of flow when we change the width of the channel. Here we are reducing the width of the channel by a smooth transition. Okay. Here E1 is Y1 plus V1 is square divided by 2G, or we can write it as Y1 plus Q is square divided by 2G B1 square Y1 square, because at section 1 the width is B1. Okay, and the depth of flow is Y1. In similar way, we can write E2, that will be equal to Y2 plus V2 square divided by 2G, or Y2 plus Q square divided by 2G B2 square Y2 square. Now, to analyze the flow, we will use a specific energy curve. In case of hump, the width at section 1 and section 2 was same, hence there was only one specific energy curve. But in this case, we have different width at section 1 and at section 2. Now we will see how changes will occur in a specific energy curve for this change in width. Firstly, let's write equation of specific energy. E is equal to Y plus Q square divided by 2G B square Y square. Here in this equation, if we decrease the width of the channel, then what will happen? And let's keep all other parameters same or constant. Okay, y is constant, q is constant, g and y are constant. So if we decrease the width of the channel, then this term will increase and ultimately the specific energy will increase. So for a particular depth of flow, if we decrease the width of the channel, then the specific energy, which is shown by this axis, this specific energy will be increased. So the specific energy curve will shift towards right of this specific energy curve or to the left of this specific energy curve. Suppose this is specific energy curve for B1, okay, and we are reducing the width. So by reducing the width, the specific energy is increasing. Hence the specific energy curve for the width greater than B1, it will shift to right of this specific energy curve. Okay, so this will be the specific energy curve for width B2, which is less than B1. We know the discharge intensity small q is capital Q divided by B. Okay, so for section 1, the discharge intensity will be Q1 and this will be B1, and for section 2 it will be Q2 is equal to Q divided by B2. Okay, so Q1 will be, here B1 is greater than B2. Okay, so this is greater means this will be less. Okay, so Q1 will be less than Q2. Okay, so this is specific energy curve for Q1 and this is for Q2, which is greater than Q1. Now we know that in this situation, since the transition is smooth and we are considering a frictionless channel and there is no change in the bed of the channel, so the specific energy at section 1 and at section 2 are same. Okay, so let's draw a line for a constant specific energy. Let's say this is E1. Okay, suppose the specific energy at section 1 is E1. So the the specific energy for section 2 will also be equal to this E1. Okay, so E1 is equal to E2. Now what about the depth of flow? Remember, this is a specific energy curve for section 1 for width B1 and this is a specific energy curve for width B2. Now for the same specific energy, the depth, let's say the depth at section 1 is Y1 so the depth, this vertical line cutting this specific energy at this point, here we are considering the upper portion of the specific energy curve because we are considering a subcritical flow. The upper portion of this specific energy curve is for subcritical flow and the lower portion is for supercritical flow. Okay, hence we are considering the upper portion. So this is the specific energy for section 1, this is for section 2. Hence for the same specific energy, the depth of flow for section 1 will be Y1. So for section 2 it will be Y2. This is Y2. Okay, so from this specific energy curve, it is clear that for a width constriction condition, the depth of flow will be reduced. Okay, here y2 is less than y1. Okay, the depth at section 2 will be less than the depth at section 1, and the specific energy will be constant at both the section. Now what if we further reduce the width of the channel at section 2? Then in that case the specific energy will shift to the right again, and the specific energy will be constant, and the depth of flow will be further reduced. Clear? And this will continue till the critical flow start at section 2. Okay, suppose for a particular width the specific energy at section 2 become minimum. Okay, so at this condition at section 2 there will be critical flow, and the corresponding width is denoted by B to M. Okay, this is the width at which for which the flow at section 2 will be critical, and the depth of flow will be critical depth. Okay, that is denoted by YCM. And for critical depth or for critical flow condition, we can write the equation E1 is equal to ECM is equal to YCM plus Q square divided by 2G B to M square YCM square. Okay. Remember, so far there is no change in the depth of flow at section 1. Okay, we are changing the width of the channel. Due to this, the depth of flow at section 2 is reduced, but the depth at section 1 will remain constant, and the specific energy also does not change. Okay, at both the section the specific energy will be same. Okay, due to critical flow condition prevailing at section 2 by reducing the width equal to B to M, that's why the specific energy will become minimum, but its magnitude will be equal to the specific energy at section 1 due to no loss of energy. Okay, and this is the expression for the specific energy at section 2, which is nothing but which magnitude is equal to the specific energy at section 1. Now let's find the expression for B to M. We know that the critical depth expression in terms of specific energy is 2 by 3 EC. Okay, this is the critical depth in case of rectangular channel, where EC is minimum specific energy. Here we are denoting the critical depth at section 2 as YCM. Okay, so let's write it as YCM and ECM. And this is the depth at section 2. Also we know that the magnitude of ECM is equal to E1. Okay, so YCM is equal to 2 by 3 E1. Also YCM is equal to Q square divided by G whole to the power 1 by 3. Okay, here it will be QCM, where small q is discharge per unit width. So this we can replace by small q square, we can replace by capital Q square divided by B to m square into g whole to the power 1 by 3. Or B2m is equal to square root of q square divided by g ycm cube. Now substitute the value of ycm in terms of E1 here. So this B2m will become q square divided by g 2 by 3 E1 whole cube, or it will be equal to 27q square divided by 8g E1 cube. Clear? So this is the expression of B2m in terms of discharge and specific energy at section 1. Now the question is, what if we further reduce the width at section 2 in the channel beyond B2m? Okay, means if B2 is less than B2m. See in this plot, this specific energy correspond to the width B2m at which the critical flow condition start at section 2. Okay. If we further reduce the width at section 2 which is less than B2m, then in that case the specific energy will further shift to the right hand side in this way. Now in this condition the flow is not possible. Why? Because the specific energy at section 1 is not sufficient to cause the flow in the channel. Okay, so to cause the flow it is required to increase the specific energy at section 1 which is sufficient to cause critical flow in section 2. Means we are talking about this specific energy. Okay, so this vertical line is just touching this specific energy curve. Means at section 2 there will be critical flow and the specific energy will be minimum. Okay, so specific energy at section 1 should be increased, which should be sufficient to cause critical flow at section 2. And to increase the specific energy at section 1, the depth of flow at section 1 should be increased. Okay, from this specific energy curve. And remember, we are considering the upper portion of the specific energy curve because we are considering here subcritical flow condition. Now in this case, when B2 is less than B2m, there will be a critical depth at section 2, but its magnitude will be more than YCM. Okay, the previous critical depth which occurred when the width we reduced equal to B2m. In this case, when B2 is less than B2m, the new critical depth will be there, but its magnitude will be greater than the previous critical depth. Okay, from this figure we can see. Okay, here the in both the condition there is a critical flow, and in both the condition there is a critical depth, but their magnitudes are different. Okay, here a new critical depth will generate, and this we can express in terms of discharge. that is capital Q square divided by B2 square G whole to the power 1 by 3. Okay, and the specific and the equation of specific energy will be E1 dash is equal to Y1 dash plus Q square divided by 2G B1 square Y1 dash square. Okay, this is the expression of specific energy at section 1. Here remember E1 dash is now greater than E1. Okay. Here this depth of flow Y1 dash is greater than Y1 and this YC2 is greater than YCM. Here one more thing is that this E1 dash is equal to the specific energy at section 2. So E1 dash is equal to the new specific energy at section 2 we can represent by EC2. Okay, this is the minimum specific energy but its magnitude is equal to the specific energy at section 1. Okay, and which is also equal to 3 by 2 times of YC2 or 1.5 times of YC2. From this figure we can understand the variation of Y1, Y2 and E with the variation of ratio B2 upon B1. Initially when B2 upon B1 is 1 means B1 is equal to B2. It means the width at section 1 is equal to the width at section 2. In this condition the depth at section 1 and at section 2 will be same and the specific energy is E. Okay, this curve is showing the variation of depth at section 2 means Y2. This curve is showing the variation of depth at section 1 and this curve is showing the variation of specific energy. Okay, so initially when B2 upon B1 was equal to 1 means when at both the section the width is equal, in that condition the depth of flow is same at both the section and specific energy is E1. Now as we reduce the width at section 2, here the B1 is constant, we are reducing the value of B2. Okay, hence the ratio B2 upon B1 will reduce, okay, in this direction towards left. So when we reduce the width at section 2, then the depth at section 2 will start reducing. Okay, but the depth at section 1 will remain constant. It will not change. That we have seen from specific energy curve. This reduction in depth of flow will continue till the critical flow condition start at section 2 by reducing the width at section 2. Okay, after that in this condition when the critical flow start, the width will be equal to the width at section 2 will be equal to B2M. Okay, after that when we further reduce the width which is less than B2M, then at section 2 the depth of flow will start increase, but this will be the critical depth only, but the magnitude of critical depth will increase gradually. And what about at section 1? At section 1 the depth of flow will start increase because it is required to increase the specific energy at section 1 to cause the flow in the channel. Okay, and this increase in specific energy should be sufficient to cause critical flow at section 2. Okay, so from specific energy curve we can see that here the specific energy is also increasing beyond this B2M. Okay, So this was all about the analysis of flow in channel for width constriction for subcritical flow condition. The same analysis you can do for supercritical flow condition. There the variation would be same, but the changes are of opposite nature. I think you will not find any difficulty to understand that, so I am leaving that on you. Okay, the analysis of flow for supercritical flow condition for width constriction you have to do. Okay, so this was all for today. Thank you.